Welcome to Politics for Patriots. Here's your host, the eviscerator of progressive nonsense, the executioner of imbecility, and the grim reaper of BS, Eddie Zipper.
Welcome to episode number 56 of the Politics for Patriots podcast. You can listen to older episodes on my website at www.eddiezipper.com. That's www.eddiezipper.com. Today I'm going to start out with some big breaking news. Breaking news. The mainstream media can now project that whichever Democrat runs against Trump in 2020 has won the election and will be the 46th president of the United States. And this is how the mainstream media operates. Listen to this from Axios. Okay, this piece is called The Trump GOP 2020 Doomsday Scenario. This is just worst case scenario for the Republicans. Here's what's coming for you in 2020, President Trump. Quote, in private conversations after the midterms, many top Republicans and Democrats said that President Trump seemed to be heading into his 2020 re-election race in a relatively strong position. The big picture? They couldn't be more wrong. Dun dun dun! Okay, and the dun 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 was actually not a quote. That was just me embellishing a little bit. You know, I'm adding a little bit of atmosphere to the tone of the hit piece here. Okay, back to quoting. In fact, all the big trends are working against Trump and the GOP, based on factors that are hiding in plain sight. Despite the conventional wisdom, many people around Trump and in GOP leadership share this dim view. He just told us that many people in private conversations think Trump is crushing it when he's really not. And then a paragraph later, he's telling us that they all share this view. So, let's see. Here are 3 factors that should worry Trump and the GOP. And I'm only going to read the first one because it's the most hilarious and the one in the milieu of what I'm focusing on today. So here's their big reason. The midterm results were actually a terrible leading indicator for him. Turns out that without Hillary atop the ticket, Midwest states like Wisconsin are tough for Trump, and southern states with rising Hispanic populations are slowly growing more Democratic. Long term, the GOP should be freaking out about this. Okay, so he just told us that Midwest states like Wisconsin are tough for Trump because of the 2018 results. I'm sorry, was Trump on a ballot there? I mean, how exactly was this tough for Trump when he wasn't on the ballot? This whole piece is written, it's like reading the book of Revelations. It's like apocalyptic literature. So Trump's not on the ballot at all in these places, but according to this writer, he lost. It was tough for him to win in these places when he wasn't on the ballot. Here's the other really super amazing part about this paragraph. They were able to see states slowly changing based on the results of one election. How can one election show things changing? Oh, we didn't know it yesterday, but based on what happened today, everything has changed. That doesn't show you something slowly change. How did they see that? They didn't explain how they saw that, but I'm really, really curious to know. Because it seems to me that being able to see something slowly changing because of the results of one election, that's like looking out the window at your car in the driveway and suddenly being able to tell who won a NASCAR race. I mean, this stuff is so hilarious. These anti-Trump media goons are completely illogical. Before the midterms, they all told us, and I know you heard this a million times, they all told us a bajillion times that Republicans were going to lose big because history demanded it. They said it always happens after the first 2 years, where one party has controlled everything, and so it's definitely going to happen in this time in 2018. It's definitely going to happen. Okay? That seems pretty reasonable. You got a historic argument. It does tend to happen. But now that it has actually happened, now that the narrative is no longer about demoralizing conservatives and Republicans. So you can't just reach for anything and say, oh, it's going to happen because it always happens throughout history. No. Now the narrative is different. So now the Democrats no longer won because history demanded it and it was a common thing that happens in midterm elections. No. Now Democrats won because everyone's politics suddenly, slowly, permanently changed to Democrat. So these are all permanently blue votes now. Right? In the 2010 midterms, the Democrats lost what? 63 House seats and 6 Senate seats? It was way worse than what happened the other day. No one in the media said it was because everyone became a permanent Republican slowly overnight. Nobody said that. Oh, the media is just desperate already to call the 2020 election for the Democrat. They want to know who the Democrat is so that they can say that Democrat is already won and we don't even need to have an election. Whoever the nominee is going to be, they won. It's over. I mean, this yellow journalism fooled a lot of people in 2016, but I don't think it's going to be as effective in 2020 after everybody watched Trump win in the face of Trump can never win narrative 24 hours a day. I hope you can't hear my dog barking in the background. I mean, really, media, get a candidate before you declare them the winner. I mean, come on, media. Are you telling me it doesn't matter who runs for the 2020 Democratic nomination because they've already won? You don't even know who it is. There are no words which can satisfactorily capture how much I despise the mainstream media. Well, there are, but if I say them, I have to bleep them out. So what's the point? I mean, these are the people who brought you guarantees that it was statistically impossible for President Trump to win the Republican nomination in 2016. These are the people who brought you all this magical math that said Hillary had a 99% chance of winning the 2016 presidential election and that Donald Trump had a 1% chance. All that data journalism told us it was over before a single person had voted. The narrative is we're winning. But really it's tied because nobody has voted yet. Nobody has cast a vote yet. But the narrative is we're winning. We're winning. So basically, what you do, mainstream media, is you always predict the Democrat will win. And whenever the Democrat wins, you pat yourself on the back and you say, yup, we were right. Yeah, we had a feeling that was going to happen. I mean, that's not impressive. And whenever the Democrat loses, you're wrong. And you say, there were mitigating factors. We didn't know that this thing was going to happen in October where the person said the thing. And if the person hadn't said the thing, then the Republican definitely would have lost and we'd have all been right. So, okay. That's really great, useful prediction science that you have going there. Always predict the Democrat will win no matter what. And you'll be right sometimes, and you'll be wrong sometimes. I mean, you'd be better off shaking a magic 8-ball. Because it doesn't know who's going to win either, but at least it doesn't have an agenda. These mainstream media pundits, anchors, writers, they're a bunch of Planchette pushers. You know what a Planchette is? It's the Ouija board pointer that you put your fingers on and it floats to answer your Ouija questions. Right? You're supposed to rest your fingers on it. But when people that you're playing with have an agenda, they push it. I mean, come on, seriously. If you're a teenager and you ask the Ouija board if the pretty girl you likes you back, of course you're going to give the Planchette a little push. And the media can't ever stop pushing the Planchette towards the Democrats. Right now, Democrat fan fiction narratives on 2020 are all the rage. Okay, here's why Democrats will win in 2020. Here's some numbers from the 2018 election that show that the Democrats will definitely win in 2020. I mean, you're embarrassing yourselves. You don't even know who the candidate is or what anything will be like in 2020, yet somehow, magically, you know how people are going to vote already. Even though those people don't even know themselves who they're going to vote for yet, you know who they're going to vote for before they do. I mean, we could get to 2020 and Trump's approval rating could be 90% by then. You don't know. But you're deciding the election even though you don't know. And I know why you're doing it, and I'm going to tell in a second why you're doing it. First, I'm going to say whenever you do this, this is my favorite thing to do when the mainstream media starts making their big predictions for Democrats, which happens every time. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bust out my copy of the Madam President issue of Newsweek. It is this generation's Dewey defeats Truman. All right, they had to remove it from store shelves because, oops, Hillary's not president. This is literally a special commemorative issue of Newsweek where they thought Hillary was going to win the election. And this whole thing is about Hillary winning the election, which she didn't do, and they had to recall it. I bought it. Don't make fun of me for this. I bought it on eBay, and I paid like $100 for it. But it was so totally worth it. So here it goes. I'm going to read you a small selection from the Madam President special commemorative issue of Newsweek. I have to remove it from its protective cover. My fingers have destructive oils, and this is my most prized possession, so I have to be very careful. All right, up at the top, big, bold headline. President Clinton. The 2016 presidential election was unique in a number of ways. It saw the first major party female nominee for the highest office in the country, the improbable rise of the kind of demagogue previously unknown in American politics, and enough infighting and mudslinging for 10 election cycles. But as the tone of the election grew darker and more bizarre by the day, President-elect Hillary Clinton went high when her opponent and his supporters went ever lower. No stranger to trudging through the mire of misogyny in her career as First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State, President-elect Clinton continued to push for an issues-based campaign, even as a handful of Trump's most deplorable supporters, seeing the wide margin Clinton held among female voters, called to repeal the 19th Amendment. On Election Day, Americans across the country roundly rejected the kind of fear and hate-based conservatism peddled by Donald Trump and elected the first woman in U.S. history to the presidency. The culminating election of a career in politics spanning 3 decades and arguably more experience than any other incoming president. 2016's was not an easy race to watch, comment on, or be a part of. But when the dust cleared, it revealed a priceless moment in American history. The highest glass ceiling in the Western world had finally shattered. The end. I've never been that wrong in my life, as wrong as Newsweek was when they decided to send that magazine to stores to be put on shelves and purchased by people. I've never been that wrong in my entire life. But I'll bet it's embarrassing. So big shout out to Newsweek. That's my favorite magazine. Never paid $100 for a magazine in my life. It was so worth it. Thank you, Newsweek. I think that serves as a hilarious reminder that voters decide elections. Not the media, not the Congress, not Hollywood celebrities, not the pundits, not the data journalists, not the newspaper endorsements, not the big donors. Just the voters. But it has already started again. For the next 2 years, all we are going to hear about are reasons that Trump is definitely going to lose. But they will all be fan fiction. Just like the Madam President issue of Newsweek. Here's one. This guy, Bill Shearer, tweeted out a map that shows what the 2020 Electoral College would look like if it matched the 2018 House popular vote. Guess what? It looks great for Democrats.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
A bunch of states that Trump won in 2016 are blue on this map. Arizona, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, maybe a couple more. Honestly, it looks a lot like the 2012 map. Well, that's that. Why are we even having an election? Right? We have our 2020 map right here. If you get a chance, go on Google and search what a Hillary Clinton landslide would look like. You'll find all these articles from data journalism sites right before the 2016 election, and they show these super blue election maps where Clinton wins by like hundreds of electoral votes. 538, that's Nate Silver's rag, their article, and it's the first one that comes up in the Google search when you Google what a Hillary Clinton landslide would look like. And it shows 3 different scenarios. In the first scenario, Clinton wins 375 electoral votes. In the second scenario, Clinton wins 394 electoral votes. And in the third scenario, Clinton wins 471 electoral votes. 471. They have Montana blue on this map. Trump won Montana by 21 points. They have Utah blue. Trump won Utah by 18 points. Here's the best one. They have South Dakota blue. Trump won South Dakota by 30 points. And they have it blue on this map. What an embarrassing joke they are. Alright, so what this stuff really is it's just fan fiction. Right? This stuff is all designed to create a non-stop narrative that whatever the next election is, Democrats are going to win it big. It's designed to demoralize conservatives and make them feel like, wow, I should rethink what I believe and how I vote because my ideas and values are nothing like the rest of the country's. Or they think, well, why should I go out and vote when there are only 5 people in the whole country who support Trump? The media is trying to perfect the art of creating self-fulfilling prophecies where the prediction is made over and over and repeated so many times that it becomes true on its own. The prediction becomes true because of the prediction. And so the mainstream media sounds like this. 24 hours a day. Will Trump lose the presidential election in 2020? Oh!
Yep.
They want conservatives and Republicans to become resigned to the results of the election before a single person has voted. And the results that we're supposed to be resigned to are fictional results. They think they're winning, but it's tied because nobody has voted yet. Literally, anyone with a blue crayon can create a map where the Democrat wins 471 electoral votes. Hell, if your blue crayon is big enough, you can give her all 538 electoral votes. I only listen to people who I know care about being right. Because propagandists don't care about being right. They care about creating echo chambers and pushing narratives on everyone. They don't care whether they're right or wrong. So this map that Bill Scher tweeted is pure nonsense. The House popular vote results don't have anything to do with a presidential election that's 2 years in the future. That's absurd. But Democrats see this map and they go, ooh, look at all that blue. Trump is finished.
I'm winning.
First of all, lots of people included in this map here went out and voted for moderate Democrats. In some cases, they voted for moderate Democrats over anti-Trump Republicans. Just as an example, look at Utah's 4th District. Right? Mia Love lost to Ben McAdams. She's an anti-Trumper. McAdams is a very moderate Democrat. Trump, in 2016, won that district by 7 points. So if you believe this idiotic map, then, by extension, you believe that the information that a moderate Democrat beat a never-Trumper in a district Trump won can be extrapolated to tell us that those same voters will choose Elizabeth Warren over President Trump in the 2020 presidential election. That sounds a bit suspect to me.
Just a bit outside.
If you believe this map, then by extension you are telling me that because someone voted for Connor Lamb, who is anti-Pelosi, pro-Second Amendment, supports Trump's tariffs, supports fracking, and is a U.S. Marine veteran, the people who voted for him will automatically go out and vote for anybody who's a Democrat just because they're a Democrat. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, they'll vote for any of them. What are you talking about? That is space alien logic.
This is ancient Earth's most foolish program. Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other 5?
That is exactly what the mainstream media's election analysis sounds like all the time. I can't even tell the difference. This is the mainstream media. Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other 5? That is bad logic. But these people are propagandists. And they traffic in, oh, I'm going to write that story you wish was the news. Because then they know you'll click on it, or watch it, or listen to it, or want to stay tuned for more of the same. That's what the mainstream media traffics in. They traffic in, you wish this was the news, so we are making it the news for you. Stuff like, oh, Clinton could win 471 electoral votes. Here's that scenario. Of course, now we know how ridiculous that scenario. I mean, I knew at the time. You all knew at the time how ridiculous that scenario was. I mean, I'm a conservative. But I don't write stories called, here's what it would look like if Ronald Reagan rose from the dead and won a 3rd term.
I can do that.
I'm not saying you couldn't do it, Dutch. I'm just saying I wouldn't write it. Okay, next point. If we're going to go with this logic that the next presidential election map is bound to look like the generic congressional vote from the most recent midterm, guess what? Everything we're talking about right now is a moot point because there is no President Trump because Romney is halfway through his 2nd term right now. Because the 2012 election map must look like the 2010 midterm vote. Oh, wait, except that's not the case because Bush was a one-termer. That's right, there was no Iraq War. Except that's not the case either because Bob Dole won by so much in 1996. And I could keep going. I could do this all the way back to like FDR, maybe further. I mean, this is very, very, very basic election history.
Gentlemen, I'm here to help you with your history report.
If history tells us anything, it's that the 2020 election map almost certainly won't look anything like the midterm vote. 'Cause when has it ever? Why don't Democrats ever learn lessons? Every time the voters put them in power, they think it's for keepsies. It's permanent. They have a little power now because they won back the House. And the media is like, I don't want to overstate this, but Republicans may never win another election now that all these voters turn blue forever and ever. I'm pretty sure that gravity notwithstanding, the pendulum has stopped swinging for good. Here's a tip, Democrats. You have to now go and actually do what the voters want you to do. If you do that, then yeah, you might win more in the future. But you're not going to do that, are you, Democrats? All right, bunches of Democrats just won seats in the House by running anti-Pelosi campaigns and anti-National Democratic Party campaigns. They said the Democratic Party is no good like it is. I'll go and change it. We need new leadership. You just watch. January 3rd, they're going to show up and they're going to begin their career in the House with a broken promise because they're going to vote for Pelosi to be Speaker after they promised they wouldn't, because that's what Democrats do. They go and they show up. They get elected by saying they're going to change things, and then they show up and they do whatever the Democratic Party tells them to. And guess what's going to happen when they do that? All those voters are just going to be done with them for a while. For a while, not forever. Not for keepsies. It's not permanent. Democrats will win again after that, but they're going to ruin it because they refuse to do what the voters put them there to do every single time. You see, most voters aren't blue or red, and most Americans don't give a crap about political parties. Voters like divided government, and they like politicians who keep their promises. So patriots out there, be ready. Be prepared for this tidal wave of Trump is going to lose narrative. It is coming, right? It's just a trickle now, but soon it'll be everywhere. That's the real blue wave, is the blue wave of anti-Trump narrative that's coming. So it's coming, it's going to be everywhere, and it's going to last until the day of the 2020 election. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe on iTunes. Listen to old episodes at my website, www.eddiezipper.com. That's www.eddiezipper.com. If you want to email the show, it's patriots@eddiezipper.com. That's it. I'm out of here.
I'm winning.
You just listened to Politics for Patriots with Eddie Zipper. Email the show at patriots@eddiezipper.com. And please subscribe.